Hi everybody, I just want to make a video, and the video is going to be titled An Honest Take on Dak Prescott. And the thing about it is, I'm here with my son. We want to give an honest take on Dak. This is not a video about trying to dog anybody or anything like that. It's just an honest take. I want to first of all say that things are just not the way they used to be. People could give an honest take, and now you can't do that. I've noticed even some of the big guys on ESPN, Fox, or whatever, they won't give you an honest take. It's a systematic thing now. They all agree. If a guy's playing bad, if they like that guy, they will not criticize him. You can't do that nowadays. But see, back in my time, if a guy didn't play well, the guy, if he deserved criticism, he got criticism. But you can't do that now. Have you noticed that?
Oh, I've noticed that big time. We're living in a world where obviously someone's on a payroll, there's some sort of gag order that's going on, because even when people criticize, it's the most bare amount possible, and it's in an apologetic way. They're always going to back it up with, like I said, being apologetic. They're not just going to call it what it is. It's always going to be, well, he does this, but there's always an excuse. They won't lay into somebody like they used to in the past. Journalism has taken a huge, huge hit, especially in this analytics obsessed world we live in now.
Yeah. And the thing that's bad about it is, like I said before, if you're criticizing someone just for criticizing them, then I get why they come to their defense.
Yeah.
But when you look at sports, this is not a personal thing. This is just merely from the standpoint of how this person is performing or not performing. Okay, like I said, I want to talk about Dak Prescott. And I'm hearing all the news out there now, and it's just amazing. I heard a guy say the other day, well, the Cowboys are not so good because they lost their starting quarterback. They lost all these other players. Now, wait a minute. I want to say, now, were they playing good with Dak when Dak was there?
No, obviously not.
Yeah, they weren't playing good
Have
with him there.
Have they even sniffed at one iota of a Super Bowl of any kind?
No. And the thing about it is, every year, they do the same thing. They criticize everybody else, and they'll say a few things about Dak, and then after you say something, oh, we can't say no more about Dak. And they start to blame everybody else. Yeah. Every single year, they blame everybody else instead of Dak. And there's only a few people out there that's willing to call out Dak for what he is. You got some people out there that are Dak worshipers, and you know who they are. There used to be people I used to listen to their channel. I do not listen to their channel now.
Not to name any names.
Not to name any names. But I guarantee you, if you ever listen to this guy, he's a Dak worshiper. You can't say nothing about Dak or he gets his feelings hurt. I don't care. Dak can throw the ball right to somebody. Well, it was somebody else's fault. He's going to blame somebody else. Okay, and then another thing, this is what I was saying. I was talking to a guy one time, a Cowboy fan, about Troy Aikman. Pretty amazing. This guy made excuses why Troy won, and then he made excuses why Dak can't win. He said to me, well, the reason why Troy was so good is because Troy had all those Hall of Famers, especially wide receivers on his team, and Dak has never had anything like that. That's why Dak can't win. Okay, first of all, let me tell you let's go with receivers. Mm-hmm. Troy Aikman has as a Hall of Famer. I'm talking about when they won the Super Bowls.
Right.
Michael Irvin, Jay Novacek. Have you noticed the silence after that?
Yeah.
Because he did not have no Hall of Fame receivers.
Right. Like they
try to say. Michael Irvin, yeah. Michael Irvin, the playmaker, yeah. Michael Irvin was great. Jay Novacek was great. Okay. Who else did he have? There's nobody else that you can say. Now, he had Alvin Harper. Alvin Harper was a good receiver, but he wasn't a Hall of Famer. Mm-hmm. Kevin Martin was a good receiver, but he wasn't a Hall of Famer. Mm-hmm. Okay, so now you go down the other part of the team. Emmitt Smith. Okay, Emmitt Smith was great. Darryl Johnson was great. Even though Darryl Johnson don't get a lot of credit, Darryl Johnson was great. Okay, you look at the offensive line. During the Super Bowl years, you had Mark Tuinei, but I don't think Mark Tuinei made the Hall of Fame. Mm-hmm. You had Nick Newton. He made the Hall of Fame. You had Mark Stepnoski, probably made the Hall of Fame. You had Eric Williams. I don't even know if he made a Hall of Fame, but he should have. Eric Williams was a good offensive lineman. And then you had, I think it was, if I'm not mistaken, it was Kevin Gogan. Because Larry Allen came in, but Larry Allen came in later on. It wasn't at the time when they first won the Super Bowl. So that's one of the reasons that they say Troy was so good, because he had all his people. Now, let's go down with Dak. If you listen to these morons, the first thing they're gonna say, well, Jerry Jones didn't even give Dak any talent. He didn't have any talent. Man, that's why the Cowboys lose, because of Jerry Jones. And you know what? I'm not a fan of Jerry Jones either.
Oh yeah.
Because Jerry has made a lot of mistakes. But I'm gonna tell you right now. Let's go down now and talk about the people that Dak has had.
Yeah.
Okay, first of all, let's go to the offensive line. Let's go down to Tyron Smith. Tyron Smith, you know what they're gonna say? Oh, he's not in the Hall of Fame because he's still playing.
It hasn't been decided yet. That's very convenient to play.
Yeah. But Tyron Smith is going to make the Hall of Fame.
Yes.
Zach Martin is going to make it the Hall of Fame. Travis Frederick, even though he had a small career, he's probably going to make the Hall of Fame because he was so dominant. They also had a guy named Ron Leary. He may not make the Hall of Fame, but Ron Leary was a dang good offensive lineman. Mm-hmm. Okay, they also had a guy named Lyle Collins. Lyle Collins for 3 or 4 years was very, very good. They had other people out there like Doug Free. Doug Free was out there, if I'm not mistaken. Mm-hmm. Okay, but the point I'm saying is, you see, those are good people. It's comparable to the offensive linemen in the 90s. Because that's what they used to say all the time. Dallas Cowboys are the best offensive line in the league, they used to say. Mm-hmm. Okay, then they had Ezekiel Elliott. Now, later on, he tapered off a little bit, but he's probably going to make the Hall of Fame. Mm-hmm. Okay, so Ezekiel Elliott is good. Now, you look at those teams. They used to compare the teams, talk about that they were comparable. Okay, so now let's go to the wide receivers. Dak has had CeeDee Lamb. He had Amari Cooper. Mm-hmm. He had Jason Witten. Mm-hmm. Okay, so he had other people too. I can't think of them right now, but he had other people that's been on this team. He had Cole Beasley, mm-hmm. Cole Beasley. Now, Cole Beasley's not in the Hall of Fame, but Cole Beasley was a good receiver and hard to stop. Mm-hmm. Cole Beasley was good.
Yes.
So you see what I'm saying? Dak has had weapons. He also had Dez Bryant. He had Bryce Butler. He also had Terrence Williams. Now, Dez is going to make the Hall of Fame. Terrence Williams and Bryce Butler may not, but they were good receivers, comparable to somebody like Alvin Harper. He has had weapons, but every single year they make excuses as to why he can't win. Every year.
And you know what I noticed? Here's the sad thing. Okay, you talk about how you can criticize a player without personally criticizing them. Here's the thing, though. It really shows me that they have no argument or solid foundation of points to stand on, because they have to pull that because they can't argue logically in his case. Every year, he doesn't even come close to sniffing the Super Bowl. Nope. Ever. Nope. And the worst part is, he's never made it. Even thought about winning it, obviously, as he's never made it. Well, yet they want to put him in the breath of people like Patrick Mahomes and these other great quarterbacks that are currently playing.
Amazing. See, and here's the thing. See, okay, back in the day, you got paid by your merit. Yes. What you did out on the field. Nowadays, it's not that way. It's this way. Well, the going rate for quarterbacks is this.
Yeah.
The going rate. That doesn't mean Dak deserved that kind of money, because he didn't. He didn't deserve that kind of money. But here's the thing, what I'm noticing. These people are in together. These sportscasters, they won't criticize Dak too much because, why? Because they get Dak money, then money's going around the whole way, where they can say, okay, if Dak makes this kind of money, now we can get this endorsement here, and they can do all that. So you can see this is a group together to why you can't have an honest assessment right now. But we can. Yeah. And we can tell it how it is. That's and the bottom line is, this guy is nowhere near worth that kind of money. He's not even worth $10 million a year. Because I'm going to tell you right now, the only thing he does, watch his game, and I tell people this all the time, the only thing he does is these little dinky passes. That's all he does. Throw these little dinky passes. Now, let me say this, because you're going to have some moron say, well, I thought he couldn't throw the ball down the field. I'm saying he cannot throw the ball down the field consistently.
Yes.
Consistently. I'm talking about if the defense, that's why San Francisco has a recipe for disaster for him. Because you know what they do? San Francisco, especially in the playoff, they say, we're not going to let you throw those dinky passes. We don't think you can beat us deep.
So
And guess what?
they force him to.
They force him, and what do he do? Start throwing interceptions, throwing the ball out of bounds, throwing it over people's heads, throwing it where the receiver have to turn around and catch the ball. You rarely see him throw the ball to where these receivers can catch it in stride and continue down the field.
And for all you analytics guys, it's not impressive when you're throwing 8-yard passes, 6-yard passes, your completion percentage. Anybody can do that.
Thank you. And that's the thing. That's why Cooper Rush has basically done the same thing he's done.
Yeah.
And if they're going to say Cooper Rush throw interceptions, so did Dak.
Right.
So don't tell me Cooper Rush threw interceptions, because so did Dak.
Right.
And I'm going to tell you this right now. I know every quarterback throws interceptions at times, but this guy, he really throws interceptions once the teams start to come up on those little dinky passes that he can only throw. Mm-hmm. He gets out there like he's going to do something, and the only thing he does is throw these little dinky passes. Now, for the Dak worshipers, this is what they want. Now, watch this. Jerry Jones he's not a proactive guy. He's a reactive guy. So he's going to react to all these people criticizing him. Now, watch this. This is 2025, January 1st, 2025. So I want people to know this. This year coming up, he's going to go out there and get as many players as these morons are asking for. They already got a talented team. But he's going to go out there and get all these people because he's a reactive guy. And then the Dak worshipers are going to say, all right, man, we got all these people. Okay, I kind of got a little distracted there. But anyway, what I was saying is he's going to go out there and get all these people. Now, all these Cowboy fans who are unrealistic are going to start talking about we're going to win the Super Bowl again next year. Mm-hmm. Because we got all this stuff they're going to say. Especially the Dak worshipers. I'm telling you right now, he's going to do the same thing when he get all this team.
And line it up already. There will be a brand new excuse waiting for you.
Yep. There's going to be a brand new excuse. They're going to start again having excuses. And there were people, like I say, on ESPN. I'm not going to say who they are, but people I used to respect. I thought they had guts enough to call him out. These people do, but now I notice that they don't now. Mm-hmm. You won't hear nothing about Dak. If you hear anybody try to talk about Dak, they're going to come to their defense. The only one that I said that really did have guts was Jimmy Johnson.
Right.
Jimmy Johnson said he wouldn't have paid that man that kind of money because he wasn't worth it.
No. And how do you get, this is my thing, you talk about merit, which you're right. How do you get that kind of money when you haven't even proven one thing yet? That's the worst part about that, like you were saying. See, Patrick Mahomes, this guy has a chance to make NBA or NFL history at this point by possibly winning a third in a row. Dak Prescott's not even thinking about any of that. He hasn't even made a Super Bowl yet.
That's right. And then on top of that, people got to remember this too. Dak Prescott is not a young guy.
Yeah, no, he's been in the league a while.
He's been in here a while. This is going to be his 9th season coming up.
Yeah.
Who gets 9 years to prove themselves?
Yeah.
You notice, if you talk to these people and you say, why didn't they give Trey Lance a chance? Oh, he sucks. He haven't had no 9 years like Dak Prescott has had.
Yeah.
He haven't had 9 years. Well, that's because he don't play that good, but Dak doesn't either.
Yeah. And it goes back to this too. It's really disrespectful, like you were talking about. So you're so desperate to prove this guy's worth that you're willing to try and rewrite history and tear down one of your old heroes in Troy Aikman. To me, that is doing some mental gymnastics that's just absolutely disgusting, really.
It really is. I mean, because Troy Aikman is one of the best quarterbacks in NFL history. He's accurate with the ball. And see, here's the thing about this. See, the Dallas Cowboys are running what they call it the Texas Coast offense, but it's really the West Coast offense. And what it is back in the day, if you remember when we used to play San Francisco, the reason why they were so hard to beat, and the West Coast offense is hard. Mm-hmm. It's hard to stop because it's predicated on these little dinky passes that Dak throws. Mm-hmm. But the difference is when you had Joe Montana and Steve Young, yeah, they threw little dinky passes, but here was the thing. If you came up on those dinky passes, they would beat you deep with like John Taylor, Jerry Rice.
A multi-dimensional game.
Yeah.
Not a one-dimensional game.
Thank you. Dak Prescott, see, here's the difference. He's not accurate enough. The guy's not accurate at all. Yeah. And I remember Troy saying this one. Now, Troy won't say this now, but remember because I was telling you this is part of the system.
The gag order.
Yeah, the gag order. Yeah, you can't criticize anybody anymore. Yeah. But I remember Troy Aikman saying, they said, what can they do to make Dak more accurate with the ball? He said, in my experience, you're either accurate or you're not.
Right.
Simple as that.
And I'm convinced, honestly, you talk about a gag order. I'm convinced that Dak Prescott, with that money, he must be buying these guys yachts or something like that. Because that's the only explanation I can come to as to why they're not calling what it is.
I agree. I agree. You hear them talking, what can we do next year? But you don't hear anybody talking about, hey, why don't we bring somebody in here to at least challenge Dak? At least challenge him.
Yep.
But you don't really have a realistic quarterback to challenge him. Like you look at a lot of these teams, when their quarterback goes out, they have guys in there who can challenge for the starting position. Like I remember talking to this one guy who's a Dak worshiper. He asked me, and this is one thing that they ask you. First of all, I want to touch a little bit on what you said about their completion percentage.
Yeah.
What they would do, they would say, well, Dak completes 80% of his passes, and Troy only completed 70%. Well, Troy's throwing the ball 20 yards down the field, and Dak's throwing the ball 2 yards.
Yeah.
That's a whole different thing. So if you're throwing the ball 2 yards every doggone play, that don't mean you're accurate with the ball.
Well, and that logic to me, it doesn't check out because it's like saying this. Okay, for all you basketball people, who would you say is a better shooter, Steph Curry or Shaq?
Exactly. Shaq
Okay.
going to have a higher percentage.
Shaq's going to have a higher percentage. Why would Shaq have a higher percentage? What are his shots compared to Steph Curry's?
That's right. Right around the basket.
Right around the basket. Steph Curry's shooting 30 feet out.
Exactly.
It's the same type of scenario.
It's the same type, but you can't get these people to understand that. They're gonna go by stats, and they don't care about anything else. Stats, and I always say, if that's what you want to go by, let's not even play the game. Let's just go by stats. But there's only a few people out there who will call it like they said. It doesn't mean, and I do not hate Dak.
Right.
I was a big fan of his until I finally seen that this guy got a major flaw in his game, and that's accuracy down the field.
And you wouldn't even have such an issue with him as this. Is Dak a bad quarterback? No, but he is not nearly what they have tried to paint him as this great quarterback. He's average.
That's what I'm saying. He's accurate. He's average with the ball, but they're gonna try to make him out like he's so great.
Yeah.
That's what they're gonna do, and that's the problem that I have with the guy, because he's not a great quarterback,
Not by any stretch.
not by any stretch. And so, I just want to say that people. I almost said this guy's name. I'm not gonna say his name. The one who worships Dak and gets his feelings hurt if you say anything about him. Another thing that these people say. If you say something about Dak, they would say, why do you hate Dak so much? Now, this is what that Dak worshiper, what I don't get about that guy. The only guy out there's a guy named M. Breezy. I actually like M. Breezy because M. Breezy, he always, like he said, keeping it real. I like M. Breezy. He actually is pretty good. I like that guy. But this Dak, that other guy that I used to listen to, they're going to say, why do you hate Dak so much?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you ask, okay, let me ask you the question. What criteria are they using to say that you hate Dak? I mean, what makes you hate Dak, in other words?
Because you're criticizing him?
Because you criticize him. Okay, fair. Mm-hmm. That's fine then. So don't criticize Dak, right? Because that makes me hate him, right?
Right.
Then why do they criticize everybody else?
Yeah.
But they don't hate everybody else.
Yeah.
You hear them talk about Mike McCarthy. Why do you hate Mike McCarthy then?
Mm-hmm.
You hear them talk about Zeke. Why do you hate Zeke? You hear them talk about the offensive line. Why do you hate the offensive line?
Yeah, if that's the criteria we're going to use, then what's good for the geese is what's good for the gander.
There you go. Since, oh no, we don't hate them. Well, we don't hate Dak. We're criticizing Dak. Yeah, we criticize. Don't mean we hate it, but they criticize everybody. Have you noticed that though?
Yes.
They criticize everybody else, but they don't hate them. See, but I would like to ask them, if I ever said, so why do you hate them? Why do you hate Jerry Jones?
Why does it become personal only when I criticize somebody, but you can criticize someone free of emotional turmoil?
Oh yeah. And see, and that's what they do. So anytime you say something about Dak, why do you hate Dak? You don't hate Dak. I just think he sucks. That's the bottom line. I think he's just average and he sucks. And the reason why I say he sucks is because he disappears every time in the big moments.
And for what he's played up as well. Like when you're comparing him by the level of people like Patrick Mahomes, he does suck. Now on his own, he's just okay. But the issue is they try to put him in the breaths of people like that.
That's right.
And by that metric, no, he doesn't belong there whatsoever.
At all. He don't belong there at all. You got Josh. They were asking another thing he asked. Who's better than Dak? I said, okay. You got Patrick Mahomes. You got Josh Allen. You got Joe Burrows. Mm-hmm. And another guy I told them last year that they shot down. I said, the guy from Minnesota. I can't think of his name right now. I can't think of his name, but the Minnesota quarterback. He was a guy That they when I said to him, "Oh no, he sucks." I said, "That's funny." Now look what he's doing in Minnesota.
Yeah.
Minnesota's 14-2. They would have some excuse though.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to tell you something else. They criticize Maury Cooper. That's the guy that's playing for Buffalo right now. Look what kind of season he's having. Maury
True.
Cooper. Shooting, I mean, he's having a good season.
Yeah.
Okay, why is he having a good season? They wanted. That was another guy they criticized. By the way. Why did they hate Amari Cooper?
Yeah.
Yeah, a guy named Dalton Schultz. He was another one that we had. Why did they hate Dalton Schultz? There was a guy named Noah Brown. Last year we had Noah Brown. They made fun of Noah Brown. Look what he's doing with the Washington Commanders. Why do they hate Noah Brown so much?
Mm-hmm.
Can you tell me why they hate these people so much?
I couldn't.
Why do they hate those people?
Mm-hmm.
Why do they hate Mike McCarthy? Why do they hate? They hated Dan Quinn when Dan Quinn went. Why do they hate Dan Quinn so much? So
Mm-hmm.
the Dan Quinn haters, the Mike McCarthy hater, the Jerry Jones hater, the Stephen Jones hater. Why do they hate those people?
Mm-hmm.
If we're gonna go by those stupid criteria, then let's go by them.
Yeah.
Now I'm gonna say for the last time. After this, they can say what they want to say. I don't hate Dak. I just don't think he's as good as these people say he
And it's
is.
sad because you shouldn't have to preface that.
No,
It's
I
like a
agree.
disclaimer you have to put on everything in order to say something, but you have to say, before you criticize, and you have to say, okay, let me get this clear. I don't hate Dak. Before
Yeah,
we even get that ball rolling, that snowball rolling down the hill,
yeah.
we don't hate him.
But see, the national media, the people at ESPN that used to call it how it is, now what they do is they just take up for him. So anytime somebody try to say something about Dak, they just take up for him and talk about, oh, Dak, you already have one of the best quarterbacks in the league. And they're saying this actually. Well, the Cowboys, the reason why they didn't have a good season, they didn't have their starting quarterback. There was a lot of people out. Every team had people out. And then on top of that, the Cowboys were not good when they had Dak. So it'll be one thing if the Cowboys were, let's say they were 6-1 or 7-1, and then Dak went out, and then the team folded or something. Then you can say, well, yeah, they didn't have Dak. They weren't playing good with him. They
Yep.
were not. They were not playing good with that guy. But every year they're gonna have some excuse.
Exactly. No, I agree.
So anyway, I just hope that people are different today, and I've seen football for 50 years. I've watched it for 50 years, and I watched it when the Cowboys went, when they had Tony Dorsett and Roger Staubach and all those guys, and people got criticized back then. But you know what would happen? It was an honest assessment. It was an honest take.
Mm-hmm.
But like I say, nowadays you can't say one thing from an honest standpoint because, well, you can see people won't call it out. But I'm gonna tell you right now. Now watch when Dak fails again next year.
Mm-hmm.
Now remember, I guarantee Jerry Jones is gonna go out there and get a lot of players this year. Now at the beginning of the year, you watch and see these Dak worshipers. Oh, Dak got weapons now. But when he fails again,
Mm-hmm.
they're gonna start making excuses again. You watch and see. If it's nothing but this, well, he got these receivers now, but they're just not on the same page yet. They've only had 1 year together.
Mm-hmm.
It's gonna be.
Yes. Yes.
I mean, it's gonna be something like that. You watch and see. It's gonna be something. You won't have anybody say, maybe this guy. They blamed everybody else. He's the only one they haven't blamed. Think about it.
Yeah. He somehow escapes it every time.
Yeah, they blamed everybody else.
Yeah.
Everybody
You're
else have
running out
gotten
of
their,
people to blame now.
everybody else have gotten their share of blame.
Mm-hmm.
Now they'll blame him initially, and then they pull back and won't say anything else about it.
Yeah.
So anyway, you have any more of that?
I don't have much more to add. Do your job, internet. Leave comments. Discussion's always welcome. Even the Dak lovers, we welcome you to discuss it with us.
Yeah, you're gonna have Dak. You're gonna have Dak lovers. I mean, you're gonna have it, and I'm already expecting that. Oh, these guys don't know what they're talking about. Yeah, we do because
Yeah.
we watch football. See,
Yeah.
we don't have to have people on ESPN to give us our opinion.
That's right.
We don't have to. We can see with our own eyes.
Yeah.
But that's the thing about these guys. Have you noticed about some of these morons out there? They need somebody else to give them their opinion.
Yeah, yeah.
If you hear somebody that's popular say something, watch and see.
You start to see the echo chamber, and you start to hear those echoes.
Yeah, Dak is good because Dak. Look, man, Dak's a top 10 quarterback.
Yep.
You know why they say that? Because I heard ESPN say it.
Yep.
So that's what they're gonna say.
Exactly.
But anyway, that Dak worshiper that I'm talking about, I almost want to mention his name, but I'm not going to. But if you listen to his channel,
all it is worshiping Dak.
All it is worshiping Dak. He might say one thing where Dak didn't play good, but he's gonna go right back to worshiping Dak.
Yeah.
And he's nowhere near good as Troy Aikman, by
Yeah.
the way.
Yeah.
Anyway, thanks